At Noah's aggressive stance, Kathy backed off to Helen's side. Snowflake lifted its head and barked. It tugged on Noah's pants with its teeth as if it was trying to stop him.
Okay, for your sake, I won't ask her today.
Looking down at Snowflake, Noah said. He turned to Jacob's grandma.
That food, I want more.
Everyone was on the verge of collapsing to the floor after seeing the changes in events. Grandma didn't mind. Instead, she thought that this boy was very innocent. She took the empty bowl and refilled it in the kitchen. He's the son of one of my distant relatives. He's going to stay with us for a while. Dracon took the opportunity to explain the situation to Walter.
This little boy talked riddles, but he looks quite cute.
Mila smiled and asked Noah, who was back to stuffing his face,
What's your name?
Noah looked up at her impatiently.
My name is Noah.
Oh, so your distant relative entrusted him to your care. Have you found a school for him?
Mila asked Dracon, concerned. We have chosen the Cherry Grove Elementary School for him. It's across from Soph's school, Dracon said. The moment he knew about Noah's wish to come on land, he had made arrangements for him. Jacob almost spat out a mouthful of water. This boy going to school? He would turn the school upside down, he thought.
Will he live in your home?
Mila asked. He'll live in Vice Principal Liam's home. Liam is an old friend, and he knows that distant relative of mine as well. Liam's apartment was, in fact, a transition station. Jade and Julia had stayed at his place while they got used to life on land, and Dracon trusted Liam to take good care of the little master.
No, I don't want to live there,
Noah yelled abruptly. He put down the spoon and turned to look at Grandma.
I want to live here.
Everyone was stunned by Noah's answer.
Okay, you can live in our home. I like this kid.
Grandma was the first to answer him. Noah, who was so blunt, reminded her of the kids she saw in the countryside when she was young. He looked especially cute to her. In addition, Noah had a little round head and chubby cheeks. Elderlies would all like him. After a few seconds of hesitation, Dracon knew that he couldn't dissuade Noah. He said, Noah, you can live here, but you can't make any trouble.
Never.
Noah shook his head repeatedly.
But,
he pointed at Grandma,
you must make me delicious food every day.
This kid is so annoying. Jacob looked at him and frowned. However, Grandma didn't mind his attitude at all.
Okay, I will cook you good food each day.
At this point, Grandma is just looking for more and more people to keep her entertained and busy, Jacob thought. Looking at Noah, Grandma thought he was from a poor village and found him quite pitiable. After seeing him eat 3 plates of chicken in a flash, she was convinced that this boy had been living a hard life, and thus forgave him for his lack of manners. Noah nodded with satisfaction and patted his belly.
I'm full. I want to sleep.
This room is yours, and the room next to yours is Kathy's. You must get along with her, okay?
Grandma pointed at a room on the first floor and said to him gently.
Got it.
Noah walked into his room. When he came on the land last time with his master Thomas 100 years ago, he almost destroyed a whole mountain due to some minor issues. Thomas punished him severely for 3 days and prohibited him from coming to the land again. Therefore, he knew that he couldn't show his cultivation techniques in front of mortal people. He stopped abruptly and looked back at Grandma.
You're good to me. Here, this is for you.
He tossed out a string of purple jade prayer beads, and it landed right in Grandma's hands.
Leafire purple jade?
Helen murmured. In the legends of the mortal world, purple jade could repel evils and protect the owner. For cultivators, it was a perfect support item to calm their nerves during cultivation. These prayer beads were like ambers, since each of the beads contained a bit of pure heavenly fire. One could see strains of flames in the beads. The heavenly fire could remove the evil thoughts within the cultivators, and thus was the ultimate treasure coveted by countless cultivators. Noah tossed such a priceless string of purple jade prayer beads to Grandma casually. He was indeed full of treasures. Even in the North Atlantic Dragon Palace, they couldn't find such a high-level supporting item. The moment the string of prayer beads was placed on Grandma's wrist, they burned up 1/6 of her hidden diseases. Since the heavenly fire could remove evils, it could easily burn up the impurities in one's body. It worked better than Jade and Julia's massages. Seeing Grandma's hesitation with the string of prayer beads, Dracon smiled. "Louise, please accept it. It's not valuable. It shows the kid's gratitude to you." Mila studied ecology, and geology was a small part of her study as well, giving her some appreciation of jades. She leaned over and looked at the string of prayer beads, saying,
"Mom, these are neither crystals nor green rocks. They are not the precious jades that are usually seen on the market. I guess they are made with other materials."
"Then I'll take it."
Grandma loved the luster and the feel of these prayer beads. Since she thought the string of beads was not precious, she accepted it. This Leafire purple jade was dug out by Thomas from a mine in Ninth Heaven, which was not accessible to ordinary cultivators, and he gave it to Noah to make treasures. Since it was not something from the mortal world, Mila certainly couldn't figure out what it was. If other cultivators saw a mortal wearing the prayer beads made of Leafire purple jade, they would probably burn with jealousy. However, in that case, they wouldn't think that Grandma was a mortal. They would think that she was a master of the soul formation realm who had hidden her realm, and thus wouldn't dare to mess with her. While they talked, Noah had entered his room, and Snowflake had also trotted into the room with him. It seemed that it was no longer Jacob's spirit beast, but Noah's pet.
"Louise, did you watch Soph's performance video?"
After seeing that Noah had retired to his room, Helen changed the subject.
"What video?"
Grandma was confused.
"Oh, I have it."
Jacob had forgotten to show the pen drive to Grandma. He immediately ran to his room to get the pen drive from his bag. Soon, the big TV screen showed Sophie in a beautiful princess dress.
"Soph is so talented."
Although Grandma didn't understand the lines in the play, she was delighted. She regarded Sophie as her own family, and her words were always full of love for Sophie. Walter and Mila watched it with Grandma, and they thought Sophie was pretty and bright during the performance.
"The engagement seemed like a joke, but if Jacob and Soph could grow into each other, they would make a good couple."
This thought occurred to Mila. She turned her head to look at Jacob and Sophie. At the moment, Sophie was sitting on the couch, with her head leaning lazily on Jacob's shoulder, and her back was pressed against Jacob's chest. Also, their hands tangled with each other in a little thumb fight. Mila smiled at the two, lost in their own world. She turned her head and met Helen's gentle gaze, and the two mothers smiled at each other. When the play ended, 2 hours had passed. On the couch, Sophie lost the fight with Jacob, since her hands were clenched against his. But she didn't want to admit defeat, so she tried to bump her head against his chin while her back was leaning on his chest. Helen stood up slowly.
"Louise, we have to go now. Next time, let's get together at our place. Thank you for dinner."
"No problem. It was a pleasure."
Grandma immediately stood up and answered politely. Liam also stood up. Looking back at Jade and Julia, he said to Grandma,
"We'll head back too." "Grandma, I'll come and see you again when I have less homework,"
Sophie said to Grandma, seeing her getting sad as everyone was leaving.
Good, good,
Grandma said with fondness. Walter and Mila had never seen such a lively scene before in this house, and they wondered where Jacob found so many people to entertain their mother. After polite farewells, Jacob and his family walked Dracon and the others to the door. After the cars left, the house got quiet again. Since Walter and Mila had returned to the city, Uncle James, who had been taking care of Grandma, would only need to come to the house once a week as their gardener. Kathy was a quiet girl, unlike the always lively Sophie. Jacob wasn't good at enlivening the atmosphere, let alone sweet-talking like the sisters. Mila looked back at Kathy and then around the quiet living room, exhaling deeply.
"Kathy, please take this place like your own home. Also, rest early." "Okay, thank you, Mrs. Brown."
Kathy nodded. Since she would be living here from now on, she was a bit nervous.
"Hey, call me Mila. If you have any problems, come and talk to us,"
Mila told her. At this moment, Noah walked out of his room yawning. Looking at him, Walter suddenly remembered that they had this unexpected guest in their home. Snowflake trotted out, following Noah. The moment it saw Jacob, it leaped up into his arms and licked his neck fawningly. "Oh, you suddenly remember me now." It had only been a few days, but Snowflake had shinier fur, and the golden hair around its paws looked more radiant. Jacob wondered how many elixir pills Noah had fed it in the past couple of days. After being tossed down by Jacob, Snowflake was not discouraged. It circled Walter and Mila, who were not familiar with it, and rubbed its head against their legs. Mila didn't like pets in the house. However, seeing the cuteness of this puppy, and considering it was brought in by Noah, a relative of Dracon, she refrained from voicing her opinion. Noah stretched his back, ignored Walter and Mila who were staring at him, and walked to Jacob.
"I'm full, and I had a good nap. Do you want to come with me and destroy the South Atlantic Dragon Palace?"